Silent Hill! Silent Hill! Sharon, bloody dog, Sharon! You hear that a lot. Alright. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. We're talking about Silent Hill! The Silent Hill movie from 2006, which itself was an adaptation of the classic video game. Doki Doki Panic. No, it's Silent Hill, of course. So, I'm not gonna mince words here. I've never played the video games. I don't know much. Everything I do know is from watching videos on it. I finished this movie at like 3 o'clock, and I've been just watching those videos just to get information. So, just a thank you to Phalos, Elvis the Alien, 616 Entertainment for all their information on the games and stuff. 616 was more the movie, but I could have watched this video on the game, but I wanted to get this review out today, you know. The reason for it, this was not on my plan. I didn't even know I could find it somewhere. Hack the Movies, they're doing a review on this, and I'm like, it's October. I kind of want to, you know, I've been skipping out on some of his reviews because I haven't seen a movie like The Ghost in the Darkness. Never seen that. That was during Boys Month. So I'm like, maybe I can't find this streaming. It's on Peacock, the sequel too. So yes, I'll be looking at the sequel. But yeah, I do know about the production of this movie and everything. I looked everything. So this was directed by, I think his name is Christoph Gans. Is that right? I think that's his name. Christoph Gans. Yep, I was right. So, from what I've learned, Christoph Gans was apparently a very big fan of the games and was trying very much to direct the movie. And from what you see in this movie, the visuals and everything, you can tell he was a big fan of the movie. A fan of the games, I mean. But my question with this, like, I knew there was some differences. I knew going into this, I knew little. I knew that the main character of the game was actually a guy, and they changed it. And I knew there was something with the name of the main girl, that her name wasn't Sharon, it was something else. It's Cheryl. But and I knew about Pyramid Head, which isn't from Silent Hill 2, but they put it in here because it's a fan favorite thing. It's like putting the Nemesis in the second Resident Evil movie, even though it was in the third Resident Evil game. It's popular. And the Lickers must be really popular because they get putting those in all the movies. Yeah. That's what I knew going in. And that's my issue with people who, I really want to make this movie. I want to make this movie. I'll make this movie. Like, Paul W.S. Anderson really wanted to make Resident Evil, but the studio didn't want it to be like. That was the problem with Resident Evil movies. When I eventually do those, is that they hired George Romero to do those movies. Yeah, and he presented them with something that was very script. It was very comic accurate. The studio looked at it and went, "Nah." But then here comes Paul W.S. Anderson with a script that has nothing to do with Resident Evil, and they went, "Do it." Really? The most comic accurate Resident Evil movie we're ever going to get is Welcome to Raccoon City. And people still shit on it. It's like you wanted a comic accurate, or a video game accurate, a video game accurate, a movie accurate to the game. You got that. Yes, they smooshed two games together, but it was still more accurate than any of the other ones. And you still shit all over it. And now we're getting this new one from Zach Cregger that, fucking surprise, is going to have nothing to do with the games. They've already said, Zach Cregger has already gone on record and say we're not using any characters from the games. And I went, what's the point of watching it then? What's the point? It's to this point they just don't care. They're just trying to capitalize on the name. That's all they care about. If you put the name Resident Evil or Silent Hill or whatever, a big franchise name, it doesn't matter what the movie actually is, people are going to go see it. Like that Resident Evil series where you have Lance Reddick, may he rest in peace, playing Wesker, who is basically an albino. Well, he's white and he has blonde hair. So let's turn him into a black guy and have the show have really nothing to do with Resident Evil and follow his two daughters. No, I never watched it. But anyway, they did change some things. And then the studio had to get involved because they changed the main character, Harry Mason, into a woman, Rose Da Silva, played by Radha Mitchell, who does a really good job in this movie. But they changed her to a woman. And then there's another woman in this movie. No. I almost said Cheryl. No, that's not it. That's from the games. Hold on. I need to look it up. Sybil. Right. Sybil. Starts with a C. Sybil, who's from the games. And apparently in the game there's some sort of thing with her and Harry, because Harry is a widower. His wife is deceased. And he's trying to find his daughter. Where this one... And it's like a thing like he's taking his daughter on vacation in the game to Silent Hill, is what it is, because she wanted to go there. Here, she's having nightmares about it, and so like, oh, let's just go there, and don't research it. Literally, they don't research why she goes by herself, because it's like that in the games. I guess it's just two people. So, oh, I'll take you there, sure. While studio demanded husband character. Yeah, the studio looked at this and went, there's too many women, we need a male character. So we now have a male character in Sean Bean's character, Chris. No. Yes? No. It is Chris. Okay, Christopher. Chris, whatever. Surprisingly, Sean Bean does not die in this movie. And I know people are surprised when that happens, but he's only half of his movies that he died. Like, he doesn't die in National Treasure. He doesn't die in this. There's other movies he doesn't die in. From what I've seen, movies-wise, he's died in The Lord of the Rings, and he's died in GoldenEye. I don't remember. I can't think of any other ones where he died. I don't know. Anyway, so his character is completely pointless. So is Kim Coates' character, Gucci, Detective Gucci. Which, is that a character from the games? I don't know. But he is there. He has a connection to the town. And there's other male cops there because the studio wanted a more male presence. So... But the problem is, we are getting exposition from Rose's side, and then they're just repeating that on his side because he needs to know the information as well. He doesn't know all of it, but he knows some of it. Like, we are told information from Rose's side about the coal fire and everything, and then you have Detective Gucci telling Sean Bean the same thing in the other world, in our world, I should say, because there's two different worlds. There's the ashy other world, and then there's the our world where the town is just abandoned. Apparently there's a third one where it's like there's an abandoned version, there's the snowy, ashy version, and then there's a version where the town still exists. Here it's abandoned because of a coal fire thing. Yeah. And then there's this cult of women. I don't know if it's all women in the game. I don't think so. That are like trying to get a hold of her because the girl is connected to something that happened all those years ago. It's very confusing. There's a whole thing. Essentially, there's a cult. I think there's a cult in the game too. But where in that version they want to release the demon, this version is trying to stop it. Kind of counterproductive, I guess. We do get a sort of vision of what happened. Apparently, many moons ago, this little girl named Alessa, who looks just like Sharon. Yeah, by the way, how many times she yells Sharon? I'm just picturing Ozzy Osbourne. Sharon! Where's the bloody dog, Sharon? That's like every time she says it. And then Silent Hill is yelled a couple times. And Sirens, which I know are from the game. Here it signifies evil is afoot. Evil. Right? So we find out that this child Alessa was abused by the janitor. Is it a janitor or is it Dr. Jan Itor? It's the janitor. And then this cult finds out she was born out of wedlock and says she's a witch. And they burn her at the stake, which this stuff is not in the game. I can't remember what it was in the game. They burn her in the game to help release the demon, I think. Here it's because they think she's a witch, and so she makes a deal with the demon to split her soul, where the evil stuff stays there, and the good version of her gets thrown out to an orphanage, where she can be found, supposedly supposed to be found by Rose, and eventually taken back there. Yeah. Meanwhile, Christopher is doing nothing, because his important part of delivering just the same exposition, but to a different thing is just, yeah. And it's just pouring down rain all the time. I don't understand how Sean Bean could act, talking to Kimiko, just pouring down rain on him. Just, I don't know. I just don't. So the witches eventually get a hold of them. They burn Sybil because they think she's a witch for some reason. I just want to get rid of her, I guess. And then Rose makes a deal with Alessa, the grown-up demon version of Alessa, and she confronts Alice Kring's character, and Alice Kring stabs her in the heart, but because when the blood drops, the evil forces just kill everyone. They take these tentacles. It's tentacle hentai. That's what happens, and then it's split in half. That's basically what it is. I'm just saying. Split in half, and yeah, then she's healed, and then they're able to drive out of there, which is interesting because earlier on in the film, when she tries to leave one way, it's like a cliff, and she tries to go back, and it's when she goes back to her car, that's when she sees the cop again, Sybil, and Sybil's like, okay, I'm not exactly sure how Sybil is introduced in the game, but here it's like they go to a gas station, and because the kid is a mess, she sees this and thinks it's child abuse, and then ends up following them there because she really has no reason to do this, but she tries to stop them on the side of the road. And because she just has to get to Silent Hill, she steps on it and drives all the way there. And that's when she's knocked unconscious. And then it's not until she comes back, I don't know, 20 minutes later or so, a long time has passed, that all of a sudden someone's like, hey, you're under arrest. And because she was knocked out too, I guess. But also, I'm watching this, right? And when she wakes up from being unconscious, there's this weird, it's a weird world. Cat Stevens is singing about it. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Ashes on everything, and your child's not good. I don't know. Anyway, she's walking around and she just decides, I'm just going to walk wherever. And she walks down these steps that she doesn't know where to go, but she does. I don't understand why. I'm sitting here going, why are you just walking into places you don't know? And you're yelling out for Sharon. And it's just like, why? Why are you... You don't know anything about this town. You don't know where these steps are going to go. But you're just going to... It doesn't make any sense. No, I know that she's worried about her daughter. And I understand that. But no sane person would just... No, if I'm in a situation... I'm staying in my car. But also, after she goes back and she sees Sybil. Sybil handcuffs her for no fucking reason. She's got the handcuffs on for like the next half hour of the damn movie. They see this zombie thing. And you got Sybil going, don't move! Don't move! And it keeps going and I'm just like... You see it's this creature thing. I'm yelling at the TV, shoot it! You can shoot it! And she's just like, shoot it! Why is she... And I think maybe she gets one shot off on it, and the blood is apparently acid or something. I don't know. And it's 2006 CGI, so I can't be too harsh on it, but it is very CGI-rific. Pyramid Head looks good because it was actually a practical actor in a suit wearing 12-inch heels. Or is it 5-foot heels? 12-inch heels? I don't know. Big heels. Big heels. Anyway, I squeaked when I said that the first time. I did. Hashtag Trashes is a Christmas movie. Not relevant to this, but just, whatever. So yeah. So when the movie ends, because I was already at that part, they leave. And apparently don't notice till they get there that it's still in the ashy, snowy world. And they're still trapped in that world, and Christopher is in his. But there's hints like the door opens and he's like, what? And earlier when they were standing in the same place but different dimensions, he could smell her perfume, apparently. And that's how the movie ends. Now that's not an ending. That's not an ending. What is that? It also doesn't make any sense because they couldn't leave earlier. Both ways out of town were a cliff. Now they can just drive the fuck out of there? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know they say that Alessa controlled this world, but if that's the case, why didn't Alessa let them go back then? If it was Alessa to let them leave, why are they still stuck in a dimension then? It doesn't really... It's like they want to have a twist, but it doesn't make any sense. Maybe the sequel will explain things. I don't know. I've heard that not very good things about that one. We'll see. As for this one, I'm going to give it a middle of the road. I liked it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. I can't really complain about the changes. I'm just telling you what the changes are. I'm not complaining because I haven't played the games. But I am frustrated because I don't understand for the life of me why studios can't just adapt the game one for one. Why they gotta change things. Why they gotta have completely new characters, Alex, Cole Young, into the games and not just follow those games. Why they looked at George Romero's probably perfect 1-to-1 script of Resident Evil and went, nah, but then looked at Paul W.S. Anderson's script that had nothing to do with Resident Evil and said, do that one. I don't get it. I don't get why Warner Brothers look at a Mortal Kombat movie and say, we need you to put this character in here that nobody knows about, an original character, because we need an audience surrogate. When the trailers for the new one are proving to you, you could have just used Johnny Cage. It would have made sense. I'm just saying. And that was another thing when that movie came out. People were like, why didn't they just use Johnny Cage? And I even said, I think, in my review, where I'm like, why couldn't that just be Johnny Cage? Why did it have to be a new character? I didn't know at the time that it was a studio demanded character. But they could have just used Johnny Cage. And that's why here, yes, Rose is supposed to be Harry. Because originally it wasn't supposed to be a husband character. So it was supposed to be a 1-for-1 there, but a female swap because they wanted it to be an all-women movie because Mother is the name of God. Yeah. What? Whatever the phrase is that Eric Draven says to Darla's mom, or her name is Darla, to Darla in The Crow. Yes, I'm going to do the revisited series on that. It's going to have to be probably next year. I just don't want to watch the remake again. Yes, I've seen it. It's crap. But that's why I don't want to watch it again. It's boring crap. There's magnificent crap, like the Sharknado movies, but this is just boring crap. But anyway, this was not bad. I liked it. So I'll give it a high middle of the road. I liked it. So, what are your thoughts on Silent Hill? Why is she screaming like that? Oh, shout out to Jodelle Ferlin, because she has to play two different characters, basically. It's the same character, but she's very creepy as the lesser version that they show. By the way, what is up with the dialogue in this scene when she finds her? You look just like her. Shouldn't the line be Sharon? Like, there's a line from the game with Cheryl? Is that Cheryl? Why couldn't she say that? Because she wouldn't just go, you look just like her. Because that's not how it works. You would think that's her. Because it is, but like, it's another version of her. But why would she just look at this perfect one-to-one recreation of her daughter and go, you look just like her? She would think it is her. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Silent Hill? Let me comment, so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott, and I'll see you in the next one.